I'm Anne from Game Like a Mother. I specialize in games that can be played in 20 minutes or less, and this is my holiday gift guide for adults for 2021. Games are such a great choice for gifts for the adults in your life because it can be really difficult to figure out what to get for an adult. And games are quality time. They're an experience gift you can wrap up and give to someone. All the games on this list are pretty new. They've been published in the last year or two, most of them. And I start out with games that I think just have kind of universal appeal, which are great for significant other, spouse, parents, siblings, friends, neighbors, and then get to a few specialized categories after that. If you click on the description of the video, I have all of the games listed out along with the timestamp so you can skip to a particular one if you are interested in it. And let's get started. First up has been our go-to game lately. It is Super Mega Lucky Box, and it is bingo plus strategy. It is by the maker of Sushi Go, and basically, you're filling out these little bingo cards, and as you complete rows, you get bonuses, and you get to mark off extra numbers or get lightning bolt tokens, which allow you to adjust numbers that are placed out, or you get moon tokens, which matter for the end of the game. It is highly satisfying to play, very easy to pick up, and we love this one because no one messes with you as you play. I don't know how many people talk about that as a big thing, where they just want to get to play a game, and if nobody messes with anybody else or with what they're doing, it seems to go better. And this is exactly that. Nothing anybody does impacts what's happening to you. You're kind of just competing against yourself for the highest score. So it's a cute, like, 70s game show kind of graphics and theme, really easy to pick up and has great replayability. Next up is Silver and Gold, another just favorite from this past year for us in our house. This is rather similar to Super Mega Lucky Box, but instead of numbers, it's polyomino, like Tetris-y type shapes that you're filling in on treasure maps. And you have some bonuses you can earn along the way. There's gold coins and palm trees, and if you pick particular cards, they have additional bonuses on them. There is a little bit of card counting involved if you want to do really well, but it is just highly satisfying in a different way. Just filling in the shapes on your treasure maps is really fun, and they're all different shapes. So easy to pick up. As soon as we got this, it became our go-to for couples game nights because easy to play, easy to teach, great replay value. Next, we have Ohanami, which is a Japanese garden themed game, and it is just a deck of cards, which I love. And you deal out a hand to each player, and then you draft your card. So each person gets to select 2 cards each turn, then you pass it around until the hand is gone, and then you score over 3 rounds. And the trick to this is you score different colors of cards you've played per round. And so, and there's different point values for different cards. So you have to be strategic in what you select, especially because the requirements for playing them in front of you is that you have 3 different rows, but they have to be in sequential order. So even if you have a really good color card that you want to get, it could, if it's too big of a gap from one of the other cards that you've played down, it could gum you up for the end of the game if you pick it. So you kind of have to do some analysis of, like, you know, how much you're going to score now versus later, depending on what you do, which is really fun for a game that doesn't require a lot to start playing. The initial gameplay is so easy. It's so easy to teach, and it is fun to play. Each game, you try out kind of different strategies. They never play exactly the same. And to me, this feels a lot like Racco. I played that a bunch as a kid, and it's Racco like up 2 levels with a lot of different interesting gameplay, but just contained within a simple deck of cards. Next up, we have CuBirds, which is a card game with really fun, pretty bird graphics on all of the cards. They're all kind of cubical in shape. And the goal of the game is to be the first to either collect 3 sets of 2 different kinds of birds, or 1 set each of 7 different kinds of birds. And I love this game because the gameplay is so unique. It's really fun how you collect birds from the grid of cards down in front of you. And there's a feature of the game where if you have managed to get rid of all of the cards in your hand, you instantly get to draw another 7 cards to restart your hand, and you get a bonus turn, and everybody else has to discard their hand of cards and draw a new hand and start fresh. So you can really mess with people if you do it at the right time, which I particularly enjoy. And so this game is great because it's quick to play, easy to learn, and it works well for people who like art, birds, or just card games. So it ticks off a lot of boxes. Next up is Patchwork Doodle. Patchwork is a widely acclaimed polyomino game where you are selecting pieces to fill in your quilt while simultaneously moving around a game board and collecting buttons which allow you to buy pieces. It is strategic and unique and engaging and so fun, and this is a much more streamlined version of that, where you are given a unique starting piece to your quilt that you put in on your little grid, but after that, they just have cards they lay out, you roll the die, which selects which next piece will be placed on everyone's quilt. So everything is the same for everybody after the first piece is placed. And you score over a couple of rounds, and at the end, whoever has the most points is the winner. What sets this game apart from regular Patchwork is that it can play up to 6 players. Regular Patchwork is just a 2-player game. This plays up to 6, which definitely extends the audience you can use it for. And also the art aspect, the doodling aspect. I am not much of an artist, and so when I played this the first few times with my husband, I just would scribble in the different colors of the shapes on my little grid, and that worked just fine. I enjoyed the game. But then when I played with my kids, I started trying to take the art, the doodling aspect a little more seriously, and it really does add to the game. It's really fun. It's kind of more of an experience than just a competitive game as well, because you're chatting, you're showing off your ideas for pieces as you're going, and it's really fun. And so then at the end, in theory, win or lose, you have a fun little quilt that you're proud of regardless, either way. So this game is just excellent for a family game night where you want to chat and get to spend time together. And then if you want to use this as like an entry point for Patchwork or Patchwork Express, this works really well for that too. Next, we have Colt Super Express, which is a hilarious shoot-'em-up game where you are all bandits on a train. You play out cards and program out your moves, and then you take turns playing them, and you move up, down, and around the train and try to shoot each other off, and just your goal at the end is to be the last bandit standing. This is not to be confused with Colt Express. That is a highly strategic game that still has where you program out your moves, but you have a little more control there, and you can sometimes see a bit of what your opponents are doing, and you're trying to collect the most loot in the end. It's a great game. It is not this. This is some happy chaos. This plays up to 8 players, and it is so fun. The more, the merrier whenever you play. And sometimes you run into a thing where somebody gets out really early, and it's fun to just sit and watch for the rest of the game. I still enjoy that, but if you're playing with younger kids or even just with adults, you sometimes have people jump onto somebody else's team if they go out early, and then you just team up for the rest of the game. It is important to not take this one too seriously. It is not that type of game. It comes with a few expansion cards in the base set that you buy. They call them expansion cards. And they are a reflex card. If you're shot, and you play this card next, you pop up and shoot whoever's in your line of sight. There's a horse card, which can save you if you're in peril. You play the horse card down and you hop out and right up to the front of the train into safety. And then finally, there is a time travel card, which is, yes, a DeLorean that is placed in the front of the train. And if you are shot onto it or moved onto it, you travel through time to the back of the train and then start playing your cards over from the beginning of the turn. It is just really fun. A treasured memory I have of this game is my little nephew who was visiting saying to my mom, Grandma, you shot me off the train because you will get moments like that when you play this game. Treasured moments that really money cannot buy and are pretty fantastic. Now we get to the part where I have a few specific game categories. First up, we have 2 games for the cooperative games. Cooperative games do not mean that they are easy or everyone just helps each other out, and it's not. These are some of the most strategic and challenging games on this gift list. The first is The Crew Mission Deep Sea. It is a cooperative trick-taking game with missions. This is the follow-up to The Crew Quest for Planet 9. And you don't need to have played The Crew, The Quest for Planet 9 in order to play this game and appreciate this game. The difference is that they've basically streamlined the task cards for this game and made that process a little simpler without losing any of the challenge of the actual gameplay of the game. And this is a great choice if there's somebody in your life who has played a lot of card games. This will feel very natural and fun and exciting for them. And especially people who've played bridge do really well at this. But if you've played any amount of card games, you'll be able to do well and enjoy this. And this has won many awards, deservedly so. The other game that is our cooperative game choice is 5 Minute Mystery, which is a cooperative, like escape room type whodunit, but that you can play over and over and over again. And it just takes a few minutes to play through a scenario. And basically what you do is you have, you randomly select a culprit, and then you start the timer and you look through a bunch of different scene cards for symbols, you put them in on the decoder, and then for each time you match them up correctly, you get a new clue and you use that to eliminate suspects, and then you're trying to get to the one final suspect who should match the culprit at the end. And this is great because you can't, it's very challenging, but you can play with 1 or 2 players and do well. But it gets a little more relaxed. There's still the same amount of work. So if you play it with like 4 to 6 players, it can be a more leisurely game experience depending on what you're looking for. It works equally well for adults and kids. Kids love this. Kids are really great at finding the symbols. And they change, it has great replay value because they have so many different scenarios. They start with some easy ones, but then there are some intense, more tricky ones where you're having to do a lot more in a shorter amount of time. So you get to mix them up. There's enough variety and gameplay that it's fun and interesting and new each time. Our next category is social games, and I chose another cooperative game for this one. It is Just One. This is a game in which you are working together to give one-word clues to help your teammate guess their secret word. And if the trick is, if more than one person writes down the same word, then those clues can't be used. So you have to be careful about what you write down as your clue. And so there's a little bit of strategy involved still. And I like this game because I feel like there's always so many opportunities to need a good, fun, easy social game, but it's also fun and interesting to play. And this is so easy to teach, and it's really nice to have a cooperative option for a family function or even work gatherings. It is good to have a social game that works for everyone. Our next category is Game Nerd. You need to pick out a board game to razzle-dazzle the game nerd in your life. Well, this is it. It is Kingdomino Origins. This is the newest game from the Kingdomino family of games to come out. And Kingdomino is basically, instead of dominoes with numbers on them, it's dominoes with different kinds of terrain on them, which you place together to make the highest scoring kingdom. And this one has a really fun theme, like a prehistoric theme, and it has 3 different levels of play, so you can match for whatever level of gamer that you're playing with, or just as you get more familiar and comfortable with the game, you can try out different things. There's discovery mode where you just have volcano pieces that shoot out fire tokens, and you get to choose where to place those, which helps you control where the points are going as you play. Then there is totem mode, where you get resources like a mammoth, fish, mushroom, and flint. They have cute little tokens for that you get to place out, and you get bonuses for having the most at the end of a particular type. There's tribe mode, where you get to use your collected resources to recruit cavemen that earn points depending on where you place them. And so it's really great because there are a lot of different manners in which to play the same game, but the rules are pretty clear-cut and simple, but it makes the game really great to match up with whoever you happen to be playing with. And even if it's just the same people over and over again, there's great replay value because there's a lot of different options as you play. Now we get to my own holiday gift list. For my husband, this is not a surprise, he picked this out himself. He's going to get Trails, which is a shorter standalone game in the Parks series, which I've heard fabulous things about, but it's just a little longer than most of the games we play. Trails plays in 20 minutes if you have 2 players, and you are going on hikes and exploring iconic sites and national parks across the US, which sounds very interesting and fun, and it has super high ratings on Board Game Geek. For myself, surprise, I am going to be getting myself So Clover, which is a cooperative word association party game. Apparently this was a big hit at a lot of the bigger board game conventions this year, and it also has really high ratings on Board Game Geek. And I always need new, fun, and interesting party games, and I love word games, and this seems like a perfect fit. So that's it for our holiday gift guide 2021 for games for adults. Get a game, make some memories together. I even have how to play videos for most of the games on this list, so you don't have to read through new rules. And I have top 10 lists coming out all the time, so there are even more options for short, fun games you can fit into your life. And thank you so much for tuning in, and I'll see you next time from Game Like a Mother.